Hello everyone. A very big welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining me today. This is a special video that I've created for the world's biggest virtual Christmas market, and I do hope you enjoy it. Today I'm going to show you how I make this boxed Christmas frame. I think this makes a really lovely gift, especially for a teacher for the end of the school year or for a friend. I'm making some of these actually for my friends, and it can sit really beautifully on the mantelpiece or near the Christmas tree. You could also hang it from the wall just to add a little bit of additional cheer to your Christmas decorations. Now this project is meant to be budget friendly, so the items we're going to use are things that you maybe already have at home or things that you can find at a really good price at the shops. I tend to buy my goodies that I'm going to use normally after Christmas when things go on sale. I buy them then for the following year. This little card that I have is actually a Christmas decoration. It's a hanging Christmas ornament that I found, and I bought a few of those. In today's one though, I'm going to be using this little angel with a little beanie, which I think she's really cute. She's also a hanging decoration that I found. So it's little items that you can use that are relatively small in size that'll fit into your frame. You'll also need then just some, for the Christmas trees, I'm going to just use some craft paper. Anything that you have at home. If you don't have craft paper, you could use something maybe cut out from a magazine or even wrapping paper. That's the same also for the background. We need some kind of pretty paper for the background. I have this one, which is coordinating well with my little angel girl. But if you don't have something like this, it really does work if you use something from a magazine that you could cut out, Christmas wrapping, or even an old book like this. You could use a piece from an old book. Then we just need some trims, some ribbons or some sequins, any kind of trims that you could find, any colors that you like. I've just gone with the traditional Christmas colors, but you really could choose anything that you fancy. You could also make it coordinate if you're having different colors for your Christmas. Some people like turquoise and silver, or the blues, or make it more of a snowy scene. And then we have these little trees that I have also found with my Christmas shopping. Those little trees that we're going to use, I think, that bring a lovely 3D element. And then I also have some wooden shapes. These are called chipboard shapes that you can find in a craft store. Again, if you don't have these or don't find them, it's not imperative that you have it for this project. I'm just adding it for a little bit of additional interest. And then I have also some buttons. These are star shaped, but you could also use generic round buttons that you have. Anything that you can find, just to add a little bit of just more interest onto the frame. And then I have these little beads or baubles that came as part of a Christmas decoration as well. And there I have some red ones that I found just also at the Christmas section. You sort of just, whenever you find little things like that, just go ahead and buy them, stock up, and then you can always use them for your projects. And then I also have this number 25, which came with my chipboard, which I'll be using and painting for that. Now, before we start the frame, let me just really talk about the kind of frame that we need. It's something called a box frame. And the difference of this frame is that the glass normally sits at the top section, so you have this depth which allows you to be able to put your elements into the frame. If you're not able to find these, they're readily available. Usually they normally come in a square shape. I managed to find a shape like this, but you just need to have that depth. A plain frame would work too, but you may not be able to have elements like chunky elements that stick out. You could maybe make it more flat, but it's normally whatever you can find. I also have a little bell and a pom-pom. And let me just show you what the frame looks like before it's decorated. So I'm going to work with the white one today, just to make it a little bit different. And I'll just show you how we're going to remove the glass, because we don't actually need the glass for this part of the project, or for this project at all. So I'm just going to open these back tabs and just lift out the back. just going to remove the little sheet that's normally inside. And then it's got this special wooden piece, which is what makes it a box frame, which lifts the back of the glass, which we're going to need. So we'll put that to the one side, and then you just slip the glass out. Just be careful, because with these frames, because they're quite inexpensive, the glass normally has quite a rough edge and you could cut yourself. So just be gentle when you're taking it out. You can either throw this away or keep it to use it for another project. And what we're going to do is, before we close it up, we need to put our background paper in. We're going to use this one, which I think works quite well and is quite pretty with that one. So how we're going to measure it is, we're just going to use the backboard of that to get the size that we need. I'm going to turn it the other way around so that we don't have any pencil markings. And then I'm just going to pop it over and then draw with a pencil just so I can get the size. It's not always exact, and you might have to trim it a little bit for it to fit correctly, but that's fine. Let's grab my scissors and we're going to cut this. You can always find Christmas papers or this kind of cardstock in scrapbook stores, and you don't always have to buy a whole pad. You can just buy a sheet or two, and one sheet you could easily do at least 6 backgrounds for this size frame. So there we go. We're just going to see if it fits. First we'll need to put in this frame part, because we want the paper to sit at the back of the frame. So we're going to slip that back in, and then the piece of paper goes and it fits. Oh, not quite, it's slightly too tight, and it's just making it buckle slightly. So I'm just going to use a ruler to just slice off just a thin little bit, just so it is fitting exactly. If it buckles, it's not going to give it a nice effect at the end. So I'm just going to trim ever so little on the side. Sometimes you might have to trim a couple of times until you get it to fit exactly, but I think it's worth it so you get it to fit really well. There we go. And then let's just see if there's a right side to the paper. Not really. So if there's a right, like an upside, just make sure you're putting your back, the pedestal, at the right angle. So we're just going to pop that in. And I have got this little, I'm going to add this little back area, because you can also hang it. Because it's going to be a gift, the person might want to hang it. So we're just going to put that back, sort of in the middle, well, as centered as you can. And then we'll pop that in. And then we close the tabs. And there's the beginning of your frame. We've got the background. Now the fun part starts. We're going to add all our little elements. I normally start with the center first, and then we do the outside of the frame. So in this one, I've done some Christmas trees, which I thought worked quite well and complements it and gives a little bit of like a scenic, like a scenery. So we're going to cut out 2 trees out of our cardstock. I don't have those measured really well. I'm just going to cut out a triangle or 2. I'm just going to measure the height of the longest one. Will be roughly, I'm going to say 7.5 centimeters. So we'll just draw on the back side. We're going to make it, let me just see how wide I made this one. I made it roughly just 5 centimeters across. So we're going to measure 5 centimeters across, which will be the base of our tree. We'll just make it there, and then we've got 7 centimeters up. We first measure the center, which is 2.5. We'll draw up our 7 centimeters, and then we'll just go from that point down to the corner, and that'll make the shape of the tree. If you want to cut out an actual shape of a Christmas tree, you can, but I think these triangles work quite well. I'm just going to cut that. That'll be our first tree, which will sit like that. It's actually made a bit smaller, so I might make the darker green slightly bigger. So that was 7, I'll make the next one 9. So I'm going to make it the same width and just make it taller. So I'm going to make it 5 centimeters. Measure 2.5 for the center, so we know where the center point is going to be. Let's make this one 9. We just make a marking there, and then we pull the pencil mark from the top down to our corner to make our triangle. You could also put more of these if you want. You could make a whole scenery, you could do mountains, you could do anything you like. I'm just keeping it quite simple. I think if you have to make quite a few, normally at the end of the school year, if you're giving these to teachers, you normally have to make a few. So if you want to make them quick, you can make them a bit more simple. And there we go. Now it's going to slip into the frame slightly, but we're going to put our trees like that. And then I also have a wooden one that I'm going to add just for some more interest, and then one of my little ones with the snow, which I really like. And what I'm going to do with these, because they're quite rounded and I'm going to stick them down, I just flatten the one side just slightly. The bristles do move, so that when I paste it down it doesn't pop out too much. And we're going to stick those there. And then our little angel, I'm just going to cut off her little string that we don't need. Isn't she cute? If you have time, you could also make one of these if you couldn't find one in the store. It's like a little wooden peg. Just paint a little face on, a little beanie, little fluffy dress, and some wings. And we're going to pop her over there. Her dress can stick over a little bit. And what I'm thinking, we're ready to stick this down. And once we stuck this down, then we can do the decoration on the outside. Just going to make it a little closer to see and center it a bit more. For the gluing, I'm going to use a glue stick for the paper areas, and then I'm going to use a hot glue gun for the chunkier elements. You could also use like a craft glue or a wood glue if you don't have a hot glue gun, but a hot glue gun is more secure, especially for the heavier elements. So we're going to start first with the little trees. Just stick those in. Just going to add a bit of glue. Any glue stick would work. I'm just going to put a piece of paper on the background so I don't get the glue everywhere, and just put the glue all over. I want it to stick quite well, and then we're going to place that. Just slip it on the inside of the frame at the bottom so it doesn't curl up. There we go, and then the other one we'll do the same. That'll just overlap slightly. There we go. And then let me just close that. And then we're going to use the hot glue gun for the wood elements. Now be careful, if I can find the wood, there it is. Now be careful obviously with the hot glue when you're working on small areas. You don't want to put too much glue, because then when you press it, it all just oozes out and doesn't look very nice. We'll just put a few little dots just on the more solid areas. And then remember, you have to obviously work really quickly to stick it down. So we're just going to put little drops. The hot glue will make some little strings, but we can pull those off at a later time. I'll just use a tweezer just going to pop that down there. You may be able to see the glue just a little bit, but that is okay. You just don't want it like big areas, like, you know, pushing out. There we go. And our little tree, I'm just going to put the flat side with the bristles to the back, and it fits perfectly in there. I'll just fix some of these bristles. It's really cute because it looks like it's got snow on it too. That's going to go there, so we're just going to put a little bit at the bottom and press that in. I'll just lift it up towards me so I can see the placement. There we go, and then our little angel girl will go there. I might just put a little bit of glue for her on the bottom so she sits at the bottom, and maybe a little bit at the back. So just some on the bottom, just a dot on the back, and then we place her down. Just press it for a few seconds, and it dries pretty quick, as you know, with hot glue, so I do like instant. There we go. So those elements on the inside are done, like we had this one. Now we're just going to decorate the outside and the top. You can go as busy or as simple as you want. This is really up to you. I like it quite busy with lots of ribbons, but that's totally up to you. We'll start with the corner piece. I've got the 25. For this one, I did make it red to contrast the light tan color of the wooden frame. But for this one, because it is white, I'm thinking, and the little angel is red, I'm thinking the red will be too much. So I might just leave this one the natural wood color. And then we'll put a snowflake. Where's my snowflake? I might leave that one natural too. And I should have a bigger snowflake too. There it is. And I might paint that one maybe even green. And then we'll put a little red star, or maybe I'm not sure. Let's see. Maybe well, that's just too monotone then. What I'll do is I will put, no, the red one's better. We could actually also put a heart. Oh, that could work. And the little star. I like that. And then are we ready to glue that down? I do like that. I like the little heart, and I think it balances the green of the trees. We could paint the snowflake green. Let's try that and just see if that looks better. I'm just using a green acrylic paint and a thin paintbrush to paint it. I'm not sure if we'll use it yet. Let's give it a go and see how it looks. I'm just going to paint it because I do think it needs something green there. Now, acrylic paints, you don't have to buy anything expensive. There are quite affordable ones in the shops that you could use, and you could get quite a few colors to work on your projects. Or you can also just buy one tube, normally like $1 or $2 for one tube, and then you can just get the color that you want to use. You could also use a marker to color this in. It doesn't have to be paint. It could be a marker. Try and use what you have. We're trying to make these as affordable and budget friendly as possible. So try and use what you have. Even if you have to go into your kid's pencil bag and get some crayons or their markers, that also works just fine. There we go. Just a thin layer. We don't want it too thick because it'll take too long to dry and it looks too clunky. There we go. I actually quite like that. Just close that. We'll just give that a second to dry, but we can actually look now and just see how that will look. Oh yes, I like that. That will work. I think that'll work just fine. Unless I should have made the 25 green and left that natural. Oh, I'm very indecisive. Unless we put that there and maybe the star. Too much red. We sort of just play around with it and just see what you feel looks the best. I think that will work just fine. So I'm going to stick down the 25 because I'm ready to stick that down. Again, just little dollops just in some of the areas. Try and choose the wider areas of the wood so you don't have too much seeping from underneath. And again, don't worry about the strings. I just use a craft tweezers to lift those off. And also if it does bulge out a little bit, I tend to, while it's still a bit soft, just pinch it with the tweezer and pull it out. And that neatens it off. There we go. This is not quite dry yet, but I'm quite eager to stick it on. So I'm going to. Just a little dollop in the middle and one on one of the little snowflake tiers. Leave it hanging off a little bit off the frame. Just picking off the glue, just a little bit too much. And all these strings. And then the little star button, which complements her dress really well. You could also use round buttons, you don't have to have star buttons. And then this little snowflake I'm going to add too. Right, and that is the one side. Now we're going to decorate the top area with the berries and the ribbons, pom-poms and bells, whatever you have. The more, you can put lots and lots or just a few. We're just going to use coordinating colors again. I'm going to use and make a big bow for the top. And I'm thinking that this red might work well. So let's try that. We're just going to make a bow. You'd need quite, the ribbon needs to be quite stiff so it makes, so the bow holds really well. But again, whatever you can find or whatever you have at home. Just going to, we'll neaten off the ends now. I just want to get the bow going first. Just make it even. And then make the bow bits quite round and sticking up like that, and that was going to go on the top. Just going to try, we also have this one that says Merry Christmas, but I'm thinking the white on the white won't work great. We also have a gold. It's nice to do a different color and maybe a different ornament for each frame, so they're all a little bit unique. But if you can only find the same color frame and the same ornament, that will work fine too. I just like to make them different just to show you the different options that are available and the different ways that you can make it. This ribbon is a little thinner, but I'm sure we can get a good bow out of it. It's like a gold with a white spot, which looks quite pretty. I think I prefer that. It's a bit more subtle than the red. And then we're going to have a few strings hanging down, and I'm going to use some of the sequins, which I cannot find right now. I have a matte gold, which will look really nice. I also have a shiny gold, and then I also have red. Let's see. And I also have this gold ribbon, which I think I prefer. Let's make the bow again. If anything, we're practicing to make good bows. There we go. Just cut the corners at a bit of an angle to neaten them off. And this will go on the top like that, with a little bit of the ribbon hanging off. And before we place that, we're going to put some of our sequins, and I think because we have gold there, we're going to use the red sequins. And what I do to measure it, I just do it from the top to the length, slightly hanging over, and just double that. If it's rather cut it too long, and then you can cut it shorter once you're done, than cutting it too short from the beginning. So we're going to put the red sequins. I'm going to put some of I have this bright green zigzag that I think that green goes. So we'll use this green candy stripe. It's like a thread or a thick string. Use some of that. And then I do like using, this is like a lace. It looks like a piece of lace, which gives it a really nice effect. Again, whatever you can find, whatever you have in your stash. That with the bow on the top. And then our little accessories. I might also put a piece of the thinner red because I do like this color. Now we're going to attach these first, and the way we're going to do it, we're just going to turn our frame upward so we can work on the top. And I normally will start with the thinnest one first. I just make like a loop, and then I'm going to stick it like that. It's okay if the loop sticks out a little bit on the back. I actually do want that. And what I'm going to do is just going to put a dollop of the hot glue and then place that down. Now it doesn't matter if there's a lot of glue that's oozing here because we're going to cover it up with a lot of other elements, so that doesn't really matter. I'm going to do the sequins next, same way. If I just show you on the other finished one, I've got these loops at the back. So just going to loop this also, the red sequins, same way. Another dollop of glue. You have to work quite quickly with the hot glue. And try not to burn yourself when you're pressing it down. This one, because it's quite wide, I'm just going to put it like that. Instead of looping it, I'm just going to like fold it in half, sticking it the same way, just slightly to the one side. There we go. And I might put another layer of this green because it's gotten covered up a bit. And I do want this to show. I do like the green to balance. So I'm going to put another green on the top. Right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to place the berries or the any other kind of decoration that you might have. I have these red ones which I really love. I might put 3 of these. And you do want them to hang off a little bit on the front. They've got like a wire inside, so you can sort of manipulate it a little bit. Just to see how you want to place it. More glue. What you can do with these is also just put a little dollop just underneath to hold them. Now sometimes these are made of polystyrene, so do be careful because the hot glue will melt the polystyrene, so just be sure that you know what it's made of. If it's just the plastic it should be fine, but polystyrene will just disintegrate with the hot glue. Little dollop there. Then I'm just going to grab my tweezer and just pull the little strings and anything excess just to neaten it off. And then we're going to add our bow next. Now once you've added the bow, you can add a few more elements once you see where the placement is of how you want it. So if you see what that looks like that, I'm ready to place my bow. There's already some glue there, but I'll just reinforce it with a bit more glue and press it down really well. And then I'm just pressing that piece of the bow end to the back of the frame. Just press that till it's dry. Shouldn't take too long. And then I'll just neaten off the glue. And to neaten it off a little bit more, I don't like to be able to see sort of where the joins are, where the glue was. So I'm going to add another little of these berries. I might just cut that a bit shorter. See if I can slip that in somewhere. That's how it's looking. I can see a bit too much glue over here. I don't like that. If you're happy with the glue to show, that is fine. I don't like it showing too much, so I do tend to pick it off in the visible areas, but that's just a personal preference. If you... Oh, it's come unstuck, but that's all right. What we'll do is, because the glue has dried, I might actually leave it. I think it's secure enough. I've just got the glue on the top one. And then just some finishing touches. I'm going to add a pom-pom just to close off this top area. I also have a little bell, which is very Christmassy, that I'm going to add there. And then maybe a white berry, just for... cut off the tip. And I'll stick those down. We'll start with the pom-pom. Again, these you can find in just, even in like the kids craft section of some stores. The little bell. Now this is metal, so when the hot glue goes on it gets quite warm, so do work quite quickly because you can burn yourself. The metal gets quite warm. And my little white berry. Press that into place. How do we like that so far? Now these are a little long, so I might just trim these just a little bit. You don't want them hanging too far off, because if this is going on a mantle, it's okay if it sort of drapes onto the mantelpiece, but you don't want them too long. Or if you do, that's fine too, you can leave them really long. And then just as a finishing touch, I have a 2020 charm that I'm going to add because it's Christmas 2020. I have a little silver charm. These you can just find in craft shops, or you can actually find them on eBay. And then I'm going to attach it with what we call a bulb pin. I'll show you what that is now. And I have a red one and a black one. It's like well, it looks like a light bulb, so it's like a bulb safety pin. And I might just use the black, I think, or should I use the red? Use the red. And then we just thread it through, and then I'll just pin it onto this piece of lace, just so it celebrates Christmas 2020. There we go. And then just a final little touch, I'm going to add just a small gold sequin, a matte one, onto the middle of this snowflake, just to close off that little hole. So I'm just going to pull one off. I'm going to put a very, very small drop of hot glue, and then pop this on, just to bring that gold across to the side of the frame. I like the colors to balance in the composition. And there you go. You've made a little box frame for Christmas as a gift with a cute little ornament and some decorations. I do hope you enjoyed this craft video. Do subscribe to my channel. I will have more coming, especially in December. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments. And I'd like to thank you very much for watching this video. Do enjoy the rest of the virtual Christmas market. I know there's lots of exciting things to see and to do. So have lots of fun. I wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.